Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Mind Method Podcast. We're your hosts, Matt and Tamar. And today we wanted to bring you guys something just a little bit different so that we are constantly giving you guys more and more value. So today on the episode, we wanted to talk about multiple streams of income, MSIs. So for anyone out there, this is all very directly related to the mindset stuff that we all coach, the personal development, and it all really boils back down to mindset. So we will tie in all of our principles and what we teach, but let's talk about how you will actually generate income. How do you get out of being an employee? How do you get to that level where you have the lifestyle that you want for yourself and your family?
Woo, so much to unpack.
Okay, go for it.
I would say the starting point is that you have to get out of your comfort zone. Your 9 to 5 pays you a salary or a wage. Therefore, you are, probably paying bills. And so this push and the motivation to start to do this side hustle or start a business, that can seem really daunting.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that you need to do is decide that you want more out of life.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to start to understand in what ways you can be of service and in what ways you can add value. Because most likely, your income streams are going to be more successful when they are something that you can be an expert in, where they are a way that you can be of service to others, and where they are a way that you can be of value. So a really good starting point is to think of the things that you are already really good at, right? Maybe you are super fit and you go to the gym and you are really into health food and nutrition and macros and you're really knowledgeable about health and fitness. So maybe you would want to consider starting an online course. Right? Start to think of the things. This doesn't need to be daunting because a really good starting point is to think about the things that you are already good at that you could then monetize and create into an income stream. I think that a really good avenue to explore for an income stream is think of ways where you can create an evergreen product, right? A digital product is always a great idea because then you are hands off. The service and value that you are providing are captured in a little digital platform that you can then sell for years to come globally and just collect an income, right? Because income streams, it's not that you have to start multiple businesses that are going to be brick and mortar or that are going to take the same amount of time that you're pouring into your job or your W-2 and you're thinking, I don't have time for multiple income streams. I can't start multiple businesses that are each going to take up my time. No, there are a lot of ways that you can generate an income for yourself that don't involve a ton of time.
Agreed. I think, and then that comes back to the traditional mindset, right? So most people think in order to become an entrepreneur, you have to have a business. And in order to have a business, you have to start a business. And starting a business is difficult. And most businesses fail. And you have to have a store and you have to sell something. And getting away from the traditional mindset is fundamental in all respects when we're talking about personal growth and on the business side and the financial side, because this is what we teach in real estate, right? You don't need to use your own money to buy properties. You don't need to use banks to buy properties. So like the real estate side of things, when you are creative mindset, growth mindset versus traditional, changes the game. And the same thing for business. Business acquisitions right now, the landscape right now is ripe for opportunity with the demographic of people who are set to retire. They have businesses that they are selling that their children they don't want, so they can't pass them on, and they're going to close their doors. So there's a ton of opportunity in this time. But again, if you are not looking and considering and open to a growth mindset that there could be businesses for sale that cash flow on entry that you can buy with little to none of your own money, then you're not even open to seeing that opportunity. You won't even hear about it. You're not going to see it. You won't know people that are doing it. When there's a whole whack of people on this other side who are open to this, who are buying multi-million-dollar businesses with no money down and none of their own money, that cash flow every year. And so I think it starts, again, it comes back to not breaking free from that traditional set, concrete block mindset that everything is what it is. Nothing is what it is. Everything is fluid. Everything can be creative. There's really no rules until you assign it a rule, right? And so multiple streams of income, start thinking like Tamar said, like an entrepreneur, especially in this day and age with the internet and how easy it is to sell a digital product, something where you don't need a brick and mortar storefront to sell something. And what better way than to do something that you really enjoy, right? So maybe you enjoy music. So maybe you put together a digital product that is a program or a mini course on how to find melody or how to find your voice, or right, how to use music day to day to elevate your vibration. Like, it could be anything, and you can sell that digital product while you generate income in other ways. So it's just a really great way to think of, I like to call them buckets, right? We have buckets that we bring in our income, right? So we used to have one bucket, right? The employee bucket.
We had two, I guess.
We each had the same bucket. It was an employee bucket.
We each had a bucket.
And that bucket sucked. So we had to get rid of that bucket, and we replaced that one little tiny bucket where within that bucket we had to beg for time off, we had to pay a lot of taxes, and we had to trade our time for money. We didn't like that bucket. So we kicked that bucket to the curb and we traded it for 3 new buckets. So one bucket for us is a coaching business where we coach, we help transform people's lives, we have purpose, we have fulfillment, and we also make an income from it. And it is really rewarding, and it's really, really impactful, and it generates an income. So that's one bucket for us. Another bucket for us is real estate investing, right? That's a fun bucket. We get to network. We get to fly all across North America. We make friends. We get to network. We get to buy properties and provide affordable housing for people, which is also really rewarding. And then a third bucket now for us is business acquisition, what I was just talking about, is learning a new space, a new skill. And guys, how many of you at 45, 50 years old are out there seeking to every day learn more, learn, grow? That's the growth mindset. I know literally very little about business acquisition, but I am forcing myself, like Tamar said, into the discomfort, out of my comfort zone, so that I can learn about it, align with people who are already doing it, so that we can learn and one day in the near future buy a cash flowing business of our own. Yeah. That's our third bucket.
You said something that's really important about the business buying. And in fact, it was true for us as well with the real estate. And that is, we didn't know anything about it before we entered into that industry. And so what we did was we spent a lot of money so that we can learn from the best.
Yeah.
So these streams
we
of
knew
incomes,
nothing.
We knew nothing. We knew nothing. And even the business buying for now is a new venture that we are learning. And again, so then we hire new mentors, right? And so do not be afraid to spend money on mentors and on programs and on courses, right? For the things that you are interested in doing, because they will buy your time back, because you will be paying somebody else to expedite the process for you and take you from having to learn everything on your own. Because we know very well that when people try to do personal development through YouTube videos, they don't get anywhere. And then they go, I don't know, this stuff is just too woo-woo, it's not for me. And they go back to their regular lives. So if you are considering an alternate income stream for yourself, then you need to do the work. And a lot of that work can happen a lot more quickly when you are willing to invest in yourself and your knowledge, and you are willing to learn from the best. Now, here's the caveat. Don't just go and become a course zombie, like with personal development. You know, a lot of our clients are like, I took this real estate course and this real estate course, and I'm in this community and this community. And have you bought a property? No, you have not, because you've just dabbled. Right? Don't dabble, commit. You have to commit. So how do you do that? Well, first of all, choose something that you are genuinely interested in. Choose something that you know, because you put in the research and you've done the work to know that this is an industry that is profitable, that this is something that you are going to enjoy spending your time doing, so that you are not just trading your day job for this now for your night job or your side hustle that you're going to hate doing as much as you hate going to work. That's
Mm-hmm.
not going to do you any good. It has to be something that you're interested in. So figure out what your passions are. Figure out what can be a vehicle for generational wealth. Real estate is a great vehicle for generational wealth. Do all investors love and are passionate about real estate? No, but they do it because they know that it is an industry that you can learn and become an expert in, that's going to cause you to have generational wealth, right? So when that is the goal, you have to know how to get yourself there. The other thing that you need to be able to do is look within yourself and think of what you are good at, right? If you are good at writing, maybe a side hustle for you, you can get freelance jobs, writing articles or doing copy for people. We would hire a writer. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
writer, call us. We'll hire you to write our copy.
Mm-hmm.
Think of what you are good at. If you're really good at health and fitness and working out and you enjoy doing that, maybe you create an online coaching program. Maybe you create a digital product. Maybe people can come to you virtually for coaching, but you also create online courses that you can sell, and you're not even doing it. You make it one time and it generates an income for you all the time, right? For the rest of your life, potentially. So think about it this way. 5% of people globally are earning six figures, which we know is not really a lot to
In
live on
today,
anymore,
in today's society, yeah.
especially in the bigger urban cities. But only 1% are wealthy. 1% of 8 billion people are wealthy. And those people are not working 9 to 5s.
No.
Those people who are at the top in the 1% are all entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
100% of them are entrepreneurs. They don't go to work for someone else. They have their own stuff going, and they have multiple things going. So in this day and age, another suggestion, think about becoming an affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And think about products that you enjoy, that you consume, that you can talk about, because companies are paying people to consume and review products now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And for me, I'll give you an example, which is sort of funny. So before we did this, I had my little Instagram page, and it was like a little baby page. But apparently that was a thing. And I had brands reaching out to me all the time that wanted to pay me to post pictures and their clothing, and they send you the
Drink
stuff.
their smoothies.
I had a really great collaboration for a very long time that ended up being profitable with an amazing collagen supplement company that I was already using.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw that I was using it, so they reached out to me, and we ended up partnering for a very long time, and it was amazing. And even the other day, because I don't really collaborate with brands now because we're really focused on this, but I put a story of me with the new mold-free coffee that I'm drinking. By the way, shout out to Danger Coffee.
Good coffee.
Sidebar. If you are looking for a really amazing non-toxic coffee that will make you not jittery, that also includes a lot of electrolytes, check out Danger Coffee by David Asprey. But I purchased it because I wanted to try it. And lo and behold, they reached out to me and said, hey, can we collaborate? Can we send you product and this? And so now I'm doing that. So that brings me to my next super important point, which is that in this day and age, you really need to wrap your mind around the idea that you need social media.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to have multiple income streams, the people that you are going to end up wanting to do business with, or that are potentially interested in doing business with you, are going to be checking your social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we also, I was very private and everything in the settings, and no, and I don't want pictures out there, and my family, and what if they see this? Well, listen, this is your business card now.
Mm-hmm.
This is your business card, and people are going to be Googling you, and they're going to be going on Instagram and looking to see who you are. So start to think about using your social media strategically.
It's a business tool.
For business. And I don't mean you need to take pictures of the salad that you're eating every day. I mean, think about the type of industries that you're interested in getting into, and start to post about those types of things. Mm-hmm. Start to engage with other pages, brands, and people who do those types of things.
Yep. Start
to dip your toes in the pool and cast your net and get your name and face out there and see what happens. Because guess what? You, just by putting yourself out there, might meet people or get opportunities that you are not going to get sitting at home and not putting yourself out there.
Agreed. I was waiting for a spoiler alert.
I held it back. I held it
I'm
back.
like, where's the spoiler
I
alert?
was gonna say it 2 or 3 times, and
I know.
it was
I
really
could
hard.
feel it
I
coming, and then
know
you
it was
didn't.
hard.
Yeah, you held it in.
I
I know.
did. I
You
held it.
shouldn't.
It hurt.
It's just what you say.
I know it
Two
just
to three times
it's
per
in there.
episode.
I know it's in there, and I held it in,
Just
and
let it
it
out.
hurts.
Just say
Yeah,
it
it's
now.
like, well, spoiler alert, you do need your social media, because listen, this is the calling card now for how people do business.
There you go. Does that feel better?
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to touch on, you're very right. And we do entire calls just helping our clients with social media because it is the best business tool there is. And in order for you to attract abundance, what better way than to use a social media tool where you can share your journey, share your failures, share your wins, where you can create a community of followers and deep connections with people who actually really love what you're doing and follow you along on your journey. And then at some point, you're able to say, hey, I've got this little ebook or mini course or this, or I'm going to do a webinar and please join me. It's very easy then for all the people that you've had a relationship with to say, I love what this person is doing. I absolutely would love to be part of that. So, like you said, think about that. One thing I want to touch on though is you hear it all the time and you see these. I've seen so many reels with multimillionaires saying, you should never diversify. Multiple streams of income is BS.
Right.
You should go narrow and deep instead of broad and wide. And my response to all of them is simply this: they are right. However, there's more to the story. When you're talking about someone, most of these people on Instagram are people which you don't see who have built their business for like 10 or 15 years and only now have 1 million followers. So 10 or 15 years of really going narrow and deep on one thing.
Yes.
But these are people also who were not in the mindset space.
Yep.
And so what I can tell you is the growth that we've experienced and seen in our own lives in the last 12 months blows the minds of people when we tell it to them. Absolutely. It is outside of the norm of thinking of what is possible in human potential. They say, you did what in 12 months? You what? How did you do? That doesn't sound possible. You what? So my challenge to all of those people is, yes, they are right in their own rights, but there is a whole other side when you actually understand the laws of attraction, the laws of the universe, and when you can enact those and your own potential, there is no limit. So you can actually, what they're trying to tell you, and I think it's a really important message, is you should not lose focus on one thing. And that's what happens with most people is, okay, I'm going to do this. And then they get really anxious and excited. And they're like, well, okay, I'm going to do a digital product. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to be an affiliate marketer. And then I'm going to do an online e-store. And I'm going to do this. And I'm going to sell, sell spatulas from Wish. And I'm going to be a millionaire. And then I'm going to do this. And I'm going to sell cars and then real estate. It's too much. And what happens is you lose focus. And when you don't have focus and attention on a few different things, you don't get anywhere. And they're absolutely correct in that. But what I want to say is there's a second part to that, that you can actually really pour in your energy and focus into more than just one thing, because you are infinitely given the gifts and potential that God gave you to do amazing things. So yes, you can start learning about real estate investing as we did 5 years ago when we had no freaking clue what to do, but we're like, let's get a mentor, let's take courses, let's learn. You can do that, but then at the same time, you can also learn about how maybe to become an affiliate marketer at the same time, or maybe learn how you in your town, in your city, in your area, wherever you are, learn how you could acquire a business that's mom and pop are about to close the doors because nobody else wants to, the kids don't want it. Like there's more than one path that you can take at the same time. Now, if you're still working your job, your W-2, your career, that can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. Like I work 10, 12-hour days. I have kids. I have commitments. I don't have any time to do any of this, let alone one extra thing. What I would say to you is it all comes down to priority, which people tell you, what's your priority? But below that is an even deeper level of what are you willing to sacrifice? Because I can tell you, and Tamara said it many times, when I was working 16-hour days, I was still willing to sacrifice my sleep to get up early before my shifts, to put in the time to learn the real estate. And I was willing to stay up late after my whole family went to bed and I was exhausted, and I would stay up and underwrite deals. And so that priority comes from a deep willingness within that I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm willing, and again, this is the mindset, I'm willing to pursue a better life where my potential is actually put to work, where I can create abundance for my family. And looking back like 5 years ago, it was hard and it's a struggle. And we actually have a lot of our clients come to us in the first few months and they're like, I just can't do it all. It's just too tough. I'm working and I got to do this and I don't have time for this. And it's very common to feel that way. And that's a transitional phase. And it's actually very exciting because you're now starting to see there's more to life than being an employee and you can create more. Actually, one of our clients very recently, he just started a program like 2 months ago. He started Transform. He knew nothing about real estate, had never invested in his life. And 2 months later, now he is negotiating with sellers, bringing me multi-million-dollar deals where he's going to make tens of thousands of dollars. And it's just blowing his mind. He's completely different. But in 2 months, his whole life is changing, which is crazy. So that's a new stream of income. And he's a firefighter. So it's a new stream of income.
Yes. And that's a really good example because he's taken his strengths. He loves to talk to people. So he was like, oh, I'm so good at talking to people. I bet I can negotiate stuff and gets me revved up.
Yeah.
So he's now doing that. And
Yeah.
he's translating that into a new industry. I do want to go back to what you said about how the multimillionaires recommend not to spread your net too thin and just to focus on the one thing. And that is because most people who try to take on multiple things don't do anything very well.
Correct.
So that's what you were saying. You know, you're like, they do this and then they do this.
They dabble in each.
They dabble, they shiny object syndrome, and then they don't actually follow through with anything. So that's why they say just keep focused on one thing so that you do it well, right? Because I want to say too that those multimillionaires, they all have multiple streams of income.
All of them.
Right? It's just that they really were razor focused on one or two or three things until it hit and did really well. And then they spent all of their time and energy focusing on scaling. Right. And then once they got to that level, you know, where they grew their business enough or they were a public figure, right? Then all of a sudden they get other opportunities because when you're a public figure, well, guess what? Then you can do commercials and then
affiliates,
brands, stages, and then people want to invite you for speaking engagements. That's another income stream. So be an expert in your industry. That's another thing. If you do pick a few income streams, like don't do them all at once, pick one and become an expert at it because you will grow your income in direct relation to the level of service and expertise and value that you put out. So if the product that you are putting out is subpar and you're just kind of trying to do it because you want money here and then you want money from there and then you want to do this and that, yeah, you're not going to do it really well and you should pick a lane. And when you do pick a lane, you would be better served to really pour your heart and soul into it and become a freaking expert. Because your abundance that you receive is going to be directly related to the level of service that you are able to offer.
That's a really good point. And most of it, I would say, comes from your inner talents and gifts that your creator gave you. So whatever talents and gifts that you have, and everyone has one or two or multiple, whatever those gifts are, when you realize what they are and you really become attuned to your authentic self, then you go, I'm gonna really highlight and work on my talents and my gifts, and then I'm gonna share them with the world. I want to give you an example. Let's say you are one of the best flute players. Let's say you're 18 years old and you've been playing flute your whole life and you play it so beautifully well, and you're sitting there going, I could never have multiple streams of income. I work a part-time job. I get paid minimum wage. Who cares that I'm really good at the flute? There are probably a lot of people in the world who would value your talent and skill if you put together a mini masterclass digital product where you break down how to become an expert flute player. That is something of value for all the generations to come of people in music, children learning how to play instruments who really want to pursue their natural ability to play the flute, and they're drawn to it and they love the sound of it. That right there is the entrepreneurial mindset. The employee mindset, the traditional mindset is, I'm really good at playing flute, but there's no millionaire flute players.
It's just a hobby.
That right there is a limiting belief.
Or the flute player, you start a YouTube channel and
Yes.
an Instagram page
Yes.
playing the flute, and all of a sudden flute brands are sending you flutes, and all of a sudden the symphony is having you fly over to be their star soloist, right? Because all of a sudden you've made flute playing very cool, and all of a sudden people are catching on, and you are like the global flautist.
No idea.
Yeah, I think it's called a flautist.
Flutineer.
No. Oh my lord.
I was close, I think.
I'm pretty sure it's called a flautist.
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Flutineer?
Okay. Flutineer.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So then you can go and flutin and be invited to do the flutening.
Yes.
Flutining all over the... But jokes aside, you know, you can start a movement, right? And you can make it cool. It's something...
Not that fluting is not cool.
No, it's very cool. It's very beautiful, and it's an art form.
Yeah.
But if you don't think it's cool, and this is just your little hobby that you don't think you can make anything out of, guess what? You probably have a ton of people that you can inspire that will resonate with you. And that's actually a really unique and original niche that nobody's heard of.
That's the beautiful thing about living in this day and age, guys. Like, it actually doesn't matter what you do. Like, because there's so many people in the world today and everyone is on social media, it actually doesn't matter what you're good at. You could be good at snorting peas up your nose. And if you start a YouTube channel and you just put it on there and you're uniquely and authentically yourself, and if that is your talent, people will watch and people will start following you, and eventually you can monetize it. I'm just saying.
We need to do a do not try this at home disclaimer.
Okay. But like, you could, maybe you're like a 65-year-old who crochets and knits at home, and you're like, all you do is crochet pillow covers, right? Like, and you're like, well, how could I ever monetize this? Nobody buys my stuff. Literally, if you put up a YouTube channel or an Instagram page and you are uniquely you and authentically you, because there is no other you would start to attract people that find it valuable to watch you in your craft. That's what's really the key here. And because there's so many people in the world, you just have to be authentic and put it out there and let social media do the rest, and you can monetize anything, right? But a limited belief says, I could never do that. I'm not one of those I'm not one of those people. Who am I? Who's going to buy anything from me? I'll never be a multimillionaire. All of the things, all of these limiting beliefs that we have been taught and ingrained to repeat in our brains that are false are keeping you where you are. So we want you guys to understand multiple streams of income is available for everyone, and that you are probably missing out on a lot of opportunity, right? The law of attraction, guys, is really not like a physical magnet that's drawing this thing. Actually, what it is the ease of manifesting what is already there. Because opportunity is actually all around you. So when you get into the right vibration, that's when you actually see what's sitting all around you, and it has always been there, but you have been blind because of your limiting beliefs.
Yeah, and I mean, that specific limiting belief is a limiting belief that is going to cause you to procrastinate and not even get started, because you're already in your head before you even started to do the thing. But this is a mindset channel, so we also need to talk about the fact that some people are going to hear this and feel inspired and go start doing the thing and feel gung-ho, and then a week or two later it'll fizzle out. And I know this firsthand because I used to work as a client success manager for a mentorship helping entrepreneurs start online businesses.
E-commerce.
And 95, if not higher, 95% of people did not have the right mindset. And they did not have the mindset of an entrepreneur. Why did they want to do the online business? Because they wanted to get out of their 9 to 5. But then they would start to do it and it wouldn't quite go how they thought. And it wasn't quite as easy as they thought it was going to be. Or they would get a hiccup, or they would get in their own head, or it would be more work or more time consuming than they expected. And they would go, oh, yeah, I just don't know. And all
it's
of
not working.
It's not working. Red flags. I'm not cut out for this. I'm getting in my own head. This isn't for me. This is too hard. And they would stop. guys, like 95% or more of people had the issue where at the first sign of overwhelm, trouble, challenge, hard time,
Failures,
failure,
lost money.
lost money, more time consuming, harder than I thought, they would stop.
Mm-hmm.
They would stop. So don't be the person that stops, because successful people have all of those things. They have the failure and things don't go their way, and they start something and it feels harder and it's more time consuming, and they have failures and it doesn't quite go how they thought, but they don't take that as a sign that they need to give up.
Mm-hmm.
They push through, and then the next obstacle comes up. A growth mindset means that it's not that you don't get obstacles. It's not that you don't have challenges. It's that
Oh
when
yeah.
you have challenges, you are understanding of the fact that your job is just to take them in stride and navigate them and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, keep going. If you decide that multiple income streams is a thing for you, which I hope you will decide, you should be deciding that. It's very possible in this day and age. And in fact, you should be having multiple income streams. But when you make the decision, you also need to have the follow through, right? You need to start to think like the entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs don't give up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. There's a lot that you said there. Number one, I think when people stop at the first failure, I think the underlying real issue is again the willingness. Are you willing to do whatever it takes to achieve your goal? And again, so then let's talk about, well, what is the goal? People aren't clear on their goals. How could you be willing to do whatever it takes to achieve a goal that you're beautifully emotionally attached to if you've never thought about it? You've never written it down. That's why we tell our clients, like, guys, it's so fundamentally important to write down your goals every day and visualize them every day and feel them every day. Because if you have a failure, you have a hurdle, you have an obstacle and a challenge, at the first sign of trouble, that's what carries you over. That emotional connection to that goal where you're like, I'm willing to get there and this isn't going to stop me. Yes, I just lost all my money. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to find a way through. It's not going to stop me. I'm not going to allow the external environment to tell me that I can't have what I can see on the inside. I'm going to make it happen no matter what. And that right there just proves that when you focus on the 5%, the doing, the masterminds, the knowledge, and you lack the mindset, which is 95% of success, you are doomed to fail, because you cannot get 100% success when you only focus on the 5%. It just won't happen. And that's why people get frustrated. That's why you see people that are serial entrepreneurs and they start businesses, they fail, and they start another business and they fail, and they're broke, and then they start another one and it fails, and they open a restaurant and it goes bankrupt, and they don't have the mindset. They're constantly focusing on the action, when if they would just step back and understand that it's coming from within, all of their results, if they could shift and understand that, they could transform their entire energy, their entire life, all of their vibration, and then the next business that they did open would actually be a massive success.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's like you just need to get going. You just need to pick. You need to get to know yourself. You need to get to know what you are good at. You need to leverage all the resources that we have available to us. We all have the same amount of hours and we all have the same access to information.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to go and do the thing and you're comparing yourself to other people who are doing the thing and you're not doing the thing, you can be doing the thing.
I think the other really key point that you said is, like, all of the people you see that are successful at one point were not successful. They knew nothing about what they're doing. Like, at one point, not that we're at the top most successful people, and I don't measure success by a bank account. We are extremely wealthy. We have our health, we have our kids, we have time with family every day. We have freedom of movement and time. We have everything in our lives that we could ever need. Our lives are extremely wealthy and abundant compared to some other people with a whole lot bigger bank accounts who don't have those things, who don't have their health, who don't have a loving connection with their children, who don't have time together. Those are real wealth. So I just want to say that. What was my point? I was about to say something.
That every person starts at the
every single person starts with zero. Everyone starts with, well, you know what? I would really like to become a day trader. I see all these people making money. Guys, go hire a mentor. Find someone who's day trading, who has a program that can teach you how to learn to day trade and commit and be willing to do all the work, be willing to fail and grow and learn. There are so many people that sit in Dubai by the pool and day trade for 2 hours a day and make millions of dollars a year. There are so many avenues to create wealth in this world today that you don't have to trade your time for money. I can't say that enough. This is the traditional employee mindset. So hopefully today we've inspired you. We've maybe opened up, cracked your thick blockheads, which mine used to be a blockhead. Pace says that all the time. You knucklehead. Hopefully we've cracked that concrete cylinder of a head that we all carry around that is just really a limited belief system, and cracked it open. And maybe you're considering, hey, maybe I could start something new. Maybe I could monetize that thing that I really love doing. Maybe you're a lumberjack and you love cutting wood. There's a lumberjack online and he just swings an axe and he's got millions of followers, guys. He's no different than you. If this is what you love to do, guys, you can monetize anything. You have to be willing and you have to be in love with it. This guy was like, I'm going to go and start an Instagram account and I'm just going to chop blocks of wood. And literally, have you seen this guy?
No.
He's a beast. I mean, women love him because he does it shirtless, but he has created a massive following and he's sponsored by axe companies and now it's monetized. And all he did was really accentuate his talents and his abilities, right? But it starts with that. So go out today, really think about what can you monetize in your life to create another stream of income, right? We encourage you to do that.
100%. And spoiler alert,
Oh,
you
there it is.
can have wealth. You can have everything that you are picturing and dreaming of. Even if you haven't gotten it to this point and you don't know how, start to get to know yourself, because the better that you know yourself, the more successful you will be.
Agreed.
See you on the next episode, which is next week.
See you next week.
This is my move now. The windshield wiper wave.
Oh, wow. That's a wave.
This is I noticed.
We'll work on that. Bye, guys.